Well, welcome to my channel, welcome to my stream, and welcome to a brand new video series and a new chapter working on this guy right there. That is a 1/48 scale Su-35S Flanker E. It's a 1/48 scale kit and it's made by Great Wall Hobbies, and I will run our intro here and yeah, we'll get right into it, okay? All right. Okay guys, well, like I said, we're starting a whole brand new series here, working on a new bird, and yeah, our new 48 scale Su-35S. For those of you who may not know, Su, that's short for, or an abbreviated version of Sukhoi. They are one of the main companies, or I think maybe now the only main company in Russia that builds Russian aircraft, I think. I know there's MiG and there's Sukhoi, and yeah, I think MiG is kind of fallen off. You don't see a lot of new MiGs anymore, so I think MiG is basically done. Anyway, I've got a big kit sitting beside me here. We're going to go through all the sprues. I have opened it up, I just haven't taken all the sprues out of the bags yet. So we'll go through and we'll have a look at the instructions. We'll see what the plan for this little kit is. I say little as a metaphor because this is a big bird. Let me show you here. Here's our big kit right there. It's a big bird we got sitting in this box here. Okay, so first one, of course, that stares you in the face when you open the box is this big sprue here that's in its own little cardboard protection. So let's get this out here. That plastic out of the way. Unfold this. We actually have two sprues in here, and they got a piece of foam separating them, so that's nice. I have only built maybe one, maybe two different kits from GWH, Great Wall Hobbies, Chinese brand, but they do some really good detail on their kits. I believe it was the Korean F-15 that I built. That was actually from Great Wall Hobbies, and fantastic, like Tamiya level quality. In fact, if you want to build an F-15C, I recommend that one over the Tamiya kit of all things, because the detail on it is actually higher than Tamiya's on that particular kit. Now I can only speak about that one, so don't take that for everyone. So anyway, this is our main upper fuselage. It's nice I don't have wings to have to install and line up, so that's a nice thing. But it's a big sprue and it's a big bird, and yeah, I not gonna need the foam in here anymore for the shipping. We can get rid of that. Okay, so there's that, and then we have our lower fuselage, our under, and some wings. Let's put this. These are big sprues to have to put around. Lots of detail, and the panel lines are nice and crisp. Just the quality on this is really good. We've got some nubs to have to remove when we're doing that. I'll change the camera so you're not just looking at me, but you can actually see it here. Let's see here. Okay, so where was I? Here's our bottom sprue. Okay, as you can see, look, all that detail in there. That looks nice. This is going to be a nice kit, assuming this thing all goes together friendly. Here's just another shot of the upper, and you can see all the panel lining detail on this guy. That's nice. Okay, there we go. We have a correction card. I guess at some point in the instructions we have parts that are incorrect, or instructions that are wrong, so I'll keep this here just so that I have my reference right in front of me. We have this sprue here, this guy. Let's pull him out. sure there's no, you know, sometimes you get a part that's maybe broken off of the sprue or something and it's in the bag. So before I throw the bag, I like to do a little inspection. One-piece tires, how about that? One piece. The tires are a single piece, single mold. So we don't have to put two halves of tires together and worry about those seam lines. That's nice. That's really nice. Looks like we've got, this might be landing gear bay doors. We've got our cockpit tub, which I'll be going over that in a little bit. Looks like our ejector seat parts here. Our main dash display. There's the seat itself. Looking at first glance, it looks like this kit doesn't have seat belts on the seats, but when you go through the instructions, you'll find out there actually is a seat belt cluster that goes on top of this. I'm not seeing it right in front of me here, but well, that tiny little nose cone, I think that's actually the tail. Yeah, lots of detail on this, which means lots of painting. In fact, this sprue I'm going to leave out because I'm pretty sure the cockpit is the first thing you do, and I need to prime it. So I'm going to leave this sprue off to the side because I'm going to have to hit it with some primer right away. As we move along here, there's not a lot of sprues in here. Of course, they are pretty big, so you don't need a lot. Here's our nose cone ready to fall off. I might as well just clip that off right now before it causes me any issues. Looks like intake runners, could be the leading edges of the wings. Fuel tanks, strange looking fuel tanks, if that's what those are. That might actually be this guy here. I don't know what this is, a bomb? Some kind of a bomb? It's not a missile. I don't know what that is. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what these are if you guys know what this thing is. Anyway, that's it. Looks like weapon pods on here, and I don't know what this piece is. This guy here. It's got a grid on it. If I get in the light, you can see the grid. I'm not sure what that's for. We've got two of them. So anyway, that's that one. Next. Looks like we've got multiple sprues in this bag. A couple of engine cones, engine pieces. This looks like all engine parts. There's those. This sprue is kind of tied up, locked in with this one. There we go. One sprue alone just for our two big intake / engine pieces underneath. So just to make life easier, I'm gonna trim this sprue because it's the only two parts on this huge sprue that why do I need it like this? So I'll just trim the sprue. There we go. Now this is garbage. I could keep this. It may make a good roll bar for a car. Roll bar pieces. Okay, so that's that. We got these two guys. And yeah, this is all the engine nozzles. There's our engines, the fans, the burner, everything. And we got a kind of a pre-assembled. That's kind of a neat feature, because normally when you're putting two halves together, you get a seam line going in the middle, and this way we don't have to worry about that. So that is nice. That's a nice little feature there. And more weapon pods, and we got another sprue, just the exact same thing. This is a duplicate, two sprues together. Speaking of sprues, I want to see how these, the very, very light indentation to indicate what sprue number or letter that is right there. Very small. So I'll have to go through these with my Sharpie like I always do. Next we have this one. Lots of little small fragile pieces, including one that was already come off sprue. Like I said, so every once in a while, yeah, this looks like our little tubes and bits and tiny stuff. And here is actually there's our seat belts for the ejector seat right there that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, it's all the little tiny little bits and pieces that go on, all those detail parts. So, including this little guy, which I'm going to put over on the side here until we're ready for him, because he's obviously come off right here. Okay, so that's that. And then what else do we get? We've got a box. We've got a little separate box that comes in the box. This, I'm guessing, is going to be the missiles, because I haven't seen any missiles yet, so the missiles have to be in here. And if these are like they were on my F-15, these are all going to be one piece. Yes, they are. One piece missiles. I love this. Well, they're not literally one piece, but very close. You don't have to put two halves of your missiles together. They've done it all in one mold, and so all you have to do is put the end on. That is really fantastic. So we've got that version. There's another one. We've got, let's get this guy out of here. We got this missile. It's kind of cool how they even have it raised up off of there like that, right? But yeah, single piece missile. That is really cool. And the detail on it is really good. It's close to, yeah, really, the detail is nice on that. Yeah. And then we have, what else we got? We got this version, this missile, this big guy. This big guy. Big missile on that guy. Yeah. This plane's going to be decked out. He's going to be ready for action. Okay, so I'll put these back in here. We're not going to be dealing with these for quite a while. I really like how they lay this out, and it's really nice. Okay, so we'll just close this box back up, so we don't need to deal with those yet. What else we got? We've got instructions. We got actually a lot of sheets of paper that come in this box. We have decals, 2 sheets of decals, plus a sheet of photo etch. Plus a photo etch sheet. Let's open this up and take a look at that photo etch. I want to take a look at the photo etch. Oh, it's not 2 sheets of decals. Or is it? Is it 2 sheets? Let's see. Oh yeah, 2 sheets. There we go. Lots of decals. Alright. Okay, so yeah, really. I'm going to leave these in the box for now. And take a look at these photo etch. Open this up. Similar, yes, really. Tamiya and these guys, they like to use their staples on their bags. So the photo etch details, it looks like it's just nothing too, you know, unlike a armor model, it's just flat pieces that go on that add extra detail. I know that this piece here, this guy right there, if I get that in the right light, you can see it. Let me do this. Okay, this one here. This is a guide for you to put the lights on the top of the wing. I believe that's what this is for. I know I saw this in the instructions when I was looking through. Yeah. So I'll put this off to the side because we're going to need that at some point, and I don't want to have to dig through the box. Okay, so let's put some of this back in. I'm going to keep this one out for now, and I'll put these back in. These are big sprues, big sprues. Go back in here, And our two great big pieces, these guys, go back in the box. Okay. Now, that being said, this back up here, out of the way. And put you here. Okay. First thing I'm going to do, I'll just change this again here. Hopefully this works. All right. Looks like we're back in action. I'm going to grab some primer. And that primer is going to be, you guys seen me build airplanes before, and I usually use the 1500 black, Mr. Surfacer 1500. I'm going to go a little bit different this route. I'm going to do it in gray, and I normally do what do they guys call it? They call it a black base, right? And that allows you to kind of build up the color and leave that black, and you're basically just covering the black, and you can do your weathering and stuff like that, and they call it pre-shading. I'm going to go a different route this time, and I just realized the irony. I'm wearing an American F-22 shirt, and I'm building a Russian aircraft. It's okay. I understand the irony of that. Yeah, anyway, this one, I think what I'm going to do, rather than painting the whole thing black, I'm going to, when I paint it the base color, I'm actually going to tint that color a little bit darker. And that way I can do another coat on top of it, and we'll kind of highlight areas instead. And it's just another technique that you can do to get that kind of a weathered, bleached kind of look. Now I know these planes, these particular ones are not the aircraft carrier versions, and so I don't have to worry about like salt water and that kind of staining that you'd see on a carrier plane. But we still, it's going to need some weathering. I've seen I've looked at lots of reference photos to see. So I'm just going to spray this sprue with this primer here, and just to get prepared for some cockpit assembly that I'm going to be doing today. I want to start on this today. I want to do more than just looking at the sprues. I want to actually get started on some stuff, because we do have to go over what the plan is for this big bird of ours. So that means I need to have some primer laid down on this guy, because one of the things we're going to do right away is paint it. So basically this is what it looks like. It's just now a slight lighter shade of gray, which is good for you guys because you can see it better in the camera. And I want to do this one too, because I've got all these little tiny little parts, but I got the seat belts in there too. I'm not sure exactly all the parts that are going to be required. Ooh, I got a little bit gray on my thumb. Not 100% sure of all the parts, but we need to go over the instructions and all this paperwork that comes in this thing. So this sheet here, we've got folds out. This basically is showing us all the decals that need to go on this bird. Okay, so this is our decal sheet, basically. Okay, at least it's one of them. Okay, that's that. So that can go here. Let's put our engines back in the box because we don't need our engine cones yet. Other stuff that comes in this kit. We've got our color scheme. Two different color schemes. This one can be the red 25th, and this is the blue 24th. And then we flip it over, and we've got the red number 6. Showing the top and the bottom, just like that. Okay, this shows you all the different colors. We've got our 4 different colors that they call out for to get this blue and grays. Okay, I have them all picked out. I'm actually not going to be doing this particular camo pattern, but I will go over what I am going to be doing instead of this one. Okay, so that's that. Now we have our instruction book, which is actually 3 pages. Okay, rather than doing a book, they've just done it like this. We got a little bit of a history on our flanker E, and we've got our what should come in the box. We got our list here, everything that should be in there. Okay. Oh, and I forgot, we've got our clear sprue. Okay, it's obviously our canopy and some light lenses. And looking at this now, it's nice they've put this little arch over hot top of here to protect the canopy. But what it's doing is it's hiding a parting seam that's going along the center of the canopy that I'm going to have to clean up later. You guys have seen me do that before, and how I do that with a Dremel and my buffing wheel, right, and some Tamiya polishing compound, and clean up that parting seam. I'm not sure whether I'll actually show that on camera for this build or not. We'll see when I get there, right? Let's see. So yeah, we've got this showing all the parts we have. We've got our instructions, and we've got our color callouts for all the different colors that we're going to need. Now, unfortunately, the only ones they do, if you're like a Tamiya fan like I am, where I use a lot of Tamiya paints, well, unfortunately, you don't have any Tamiya color references here. And you get things like duck egg green, a color called Neo Nemesis, stuff like that, bright blue, sky blue, things like that. And so you only get Ammo MIG reference and Mr. Color. So that's good because you get the Mr. Color reference. Because Ammo MIG, none of my local hobby stores carry the Ammo MIG brand. So what I did is I went online and looked up some reference charts and conversion charts and stuff like that to see what was the equivalent of different ones. And so I've got my colors picked out. I'll show you guys that in a minute. So anyway, that's this sheet, which really that's all it is. There's not much to that. So here's where we start with our instructions. Obviously we're going to start with our ejector seat and our cockpit panel. We've got this little block here, shows where our decals are going to go on there. Okay, I've gone through this whole book and I've referenced all my colors that I need, such as red and white and black and silver, neutral gray, khaki color for the seat, stuff like that, right? If I can get this open, where does this unfold? Here we go. So there's number 2. They unfold it like that, and they don't give us any names of any of the parts, so enough. You don't know what you're building until you actually get to do it. Anyway, so that's that. So that's this, okay? And we've got fold number 2, starts with step number 8, and then we've got number 3, starts with step 15, putting our missiles on and stuff like that, and eventually getting to our canopy. And that's it. And obviously we have our little correction sheet. So, what am I doing with this bird? What's the plan? Well, we have, as usual, I have my Red Fox Studios cockpit pieces. I'll change the camera back. I change the camera back. Man, I don't know why this is lagging like this. Here we go. Got this guy here. This is from Red Fox Studios, 3D acrylic set. As you can see, this just replaces all the panels that are in there, and of course it's 3D. This is the little sheet here. I've taken the staple out already, so let's pull this out of the bag. This is the actual set here. Okay, so let's do this. So this little set is why I wanted to get that primer on there first, because I need to paint it. So this comes already with your ready to install, and they look really nice, like the glossy parts and all that stuff. They're all separate. It's all 3D resin, so it you can install this stuff either with CA glue, which you guys have seen me do quite a few times now, or you can use PVA, which I'm going to try the PVA route this time around. Okay, CA glue, of course. Let's change back. CA glue obviously gives you about 1 second to figure out what you're doing with it. This guy here, it unfolds and it shows you exactly where all your pieces go, okay, and which kit part number you're putting it on, and that's really handy and it's useful and you can do all that. Okay, so like I said, CA glue gives you, you know, that half a second or 1 second to maneuver it to where you need it before it sets and it's permanent there and you're not doing anything. You want to remove it, you're going to break this, right? I've always thought PVA glue, also known as white glue, Elmer's glue, school glue, whatever you want to call it, I've always thought that stuff was only for paper and cardboard. But I've seen many modelers using it for putting on these acrylic stuff on their kits. They use it for gluing the canopies on, so, and stuff like that. And it's like, what? I thought this was for plastic, for paper. Anyway, so I'm going to put it to the test. I'm going to try it out, and I'm going to use that for this stuff, for my cockpit panels. Okay, so now I mentioned something about colors. Colors. So I went online, I looked up some references and some conversions to the colors that they call out for the ammo make, to things like just different colors what match. Okay, so for our cockpit, of course the Russian cockpits on all their modern aircraft are that really light blue color. Well, Mr. Color happens to make the exact color I need, right? And that's this one here, this really light blue. They actually call this stuff interior blue, Soviet, right? And it pretty much matches perfectly. And this is the stuff. So this is what I'm going to be painting our cockpit pieces in. Okay. We have the main scheme of the plane. I'll show you on the picture here again. Okay. The very light gray color, that's going to be this stuff. This is AK Interactive's 3rd generation Air series. This one happens to be the AK-11806. I'll put down in the description box, I'll put these numbers down so you know exactly, and you can look them up yourself, what this actually looks like. If you look at the bottle, it basically just looks like light gray. But that is really, it's actually called World War I German Light Blue, is what these guys call it. German Light Blue. But that's going to be my super light gray. The darker gray, that is going to be Tamiya's XF-54 dark sea gray. Now the lids never really do Tamiya's justice. I don't know why Tamiya doesn't do their lids in the exact colors like Mr. Hobby can. You see, look at Mr. Hobby here. You see the lid, you see the bottom. It's the same. It's the exact same. If I take this paint, dip my finger in it, and then touch the lid, you're going to see it's exactly the same color as the lid. Mr. Hobby does that. Tamiya can't for some reason. Tamiya, here's our light dark gray, and it doesn't match, right? That's definitely a lighter gray than what's on the bottom. You can see I get them both on the camera. They're darker grays. It's a darker color. Okay. Anyway, so that's that. That's going to be our darker gray on the kiss. Now we have our blue, the bluish color that's on here. And what I did was I took my interior color and the dark gray, and I mixed them. I took and I actually took some dark blue and mixed it together, and I've come up with a blue that is just a little bit desaturated and a little more bluish than this really light blue, and that's what I've done. So this blue here, I'll open it, even though I put a little bit on the lid, I'll show you here. It's just a little bit desaturated compared to this one. It's hard to tell on the camera. If I were to put them side by side, I actually did a test just to see what the difference is. I grabbed a little white piece of cardboard and I put a little blob and a little blob right beside each other. They are different. It's not quite the same, but yeah. So there's our 3 colors, okay? No, sorry, not this one. There's our 3 colors, okay? Light gray, dark gray, and the blue, and that's what we're going to do. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm not doing this camo pattern. I'm going to do a totally different camo pattern. What I'm going to do is the Arctic Splinter pattern. Let me see if I can get a picture for you here. There we go. Okay, so this is basically the color scheme is not going to be the same as this. Obviously, I just went through the grays and the blues that I'm going to use, but this is the color pattern that I'm going to be replicating. Okay, so you might be wondering, okay, so why are you doing it in different color if they don't do the splinter pattern in that color? And I would say you're wrong. I've actually found online a picture of the splinter pattern and printed it out, and I have it right here. So I have the splinter pattern in the blues and grays, and so it actually is a real thing, and so that's what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so anyway, let's get to part one, looking at our cockpit. Okay, first thing I want to do, I'm going to skip the seat right now because today I want to get to the cockpit and get these ready to be put on. So what I need to do is put the cockpit parts together and maybe just dry fit, but at least get the panels together and ready, so, and paint them so that I can put my pieces on there without having to mask them, right? So that's the first thing I want to do. So let's switch this over, okay? And we're going to find out what pieces we need here off of our thing. So it looks like everything is off of our C tree. C64, 79, 78, 75, 77, C40, C71. I'm going to reference my little cutout here. Which one is the one that shows the parts? This one. So really what I'm going to do is kind of look at these. So I need C64 and 71. That's 71. I also need I-115 and I-5. But our main pieces are going on 64 and 71. So let's find those. So that should be on this one. This is our C tree. And of course, 64 is our main bucket or tub. It's this guy here. Okay. We've got C71, so that's this guy here, our main display. Okay. This guy here. Now I gotta find our I tree. I. Is that this? Hey, this happens to be it. So I want I number 5 and 115. I5. Just off of the I5. Actually, what I want to do, this is going to be a little bit tricky to do. So I'm going to trim this and then like this. And this should, in theory, allow me to actually hold that piece. Now I need I-115. Or is that just I-15? It's I-15, not 115. I-15 is this little square box. So just like the other one, I'm going to trim it a little bigger. That's going to allow me to actually grab onto these like this so I can paint them. Okay. Same with our little square blocks here. Just like that, so I can paint them. Now, this guy here, I need to get rid of all the nice detail that they have molded into this for me. I need to get rid of it all. You see this blue part here? This is where our panels are going to go on. That needs to be sanded down really smooth. Okay? And same with this. Although this, I don't think it needs to be sanded down very much. Our detail here does. Let's take a look at what's actually being replaced. So we actually have these pieces here, these two on the sides are going across these, so this needs to be flattened, this needs to be flattened, this needs to be flattened off. So yeah, it's unfortunate when you're looking at this stuff, you see all this nice detail that they've molded in here, and then you're gonna come along, or I'm gonna come along and basically get rid of it all and make just these flat surfaces for our pieces to sit down on. Especially this one, they've molded a really nice little switch in there, and I'm just going to come along and delete it. So I'm going to use my file these down flat, gives a flat surface for our pieces to sit down on. Now you want to pay attention to this. These are actually on an angle. These are not straight across like this. This is angled inward like this, and this one's angled inward like that, just like that. So you want to be careful about that. If you're using a file like I am, make sure that you don't file them straight, if you're trying to be accurate anyway. You could really file them down to nothing if you really wanted to. Just go slow. You just need a flat surface. You need some surface area for the thing to sit down on. There's all kinds of little buttons all around the display here, but they are also molded in right there. So we're going to get rid of our buttons. I'm going to file those all flat. Get a nice flat surface for that to sit down on. Just like that. Okay. Which also means we've got to take care of this part here, because we've got that little dip down. So this little part has to be flat too. It's got to be all one flat surface. Otherwise it's not going to sit properly. It's not going to sit down flush. It's got to be flat. Once you start getting rid of all your primer with that, you know you're getting down to a flat surface and you're not going to have any issues. Okay? That's the whole point here. And there we go. I'm now gone through the primer to the plastic on my displays, so I know I'm flat. So there we go. I'm actually just going to grab my toothbrush here just to get rid of any kind of things that don't want to go away just by blowing on it. So there we go. I've got a nice clean piece. This is ready. Okay. Now let's have a look at all of our stuff here. This needs to, there's got a lot of nice detail that they've molded in here. A lot of all the buttons and switches. They've done a really good job. So it is unfortunate that I'm terrible at painting these super tiny details, that I go with these acrylic sets for all my detail, and I have to get rid of all these nice little buttons and switches that they've molded in there. Yeah, they've done a nice job. Unfortunately, I need to do this, so yeah, it is just, it's a shame, but it's a necessary thing. This all has to be flat. So I'm just going to get rid of some of the thicker pieces with my knife, with my blade. So that I don't have to work the file quite so much. Okay, it's filing time. Now because of the shape of this, I can file to this edge and then I gotta change it up. So let's do this. There is a lot of detail to shave away. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. I'm going to get this angle. As you can see, if I tip this up, you can see the angles. We got straight and then it curves up. It goes like, it's literally like this, right? So we've got to get that edge too. Again, you have to get this flat, otherwise your pieces are all just going to be sitting on top of the detail and they're basically just kind of sitting up in the air and it doesn't look good, and you might even have some fitment problems of other pieces that go around them. So I've got this side pretty much flattened out now. And let's get this one, tip this up a little bit, just so I can get some pressure on it to get some good filing action going. There we go. Those two edges, those are done. Okay. Now let's have a look here what I got going on. I've got to do that edge. So I'll get in there like this. This might actually be a good opportunity to use my reciprocating sander. Maybe. I don't know for sure. And I've got one little button right here that I couldn't get at with the file, so I'm just going to shave it off here like that. I think we're looking good here. It's amazing, they've got molded in this little, like a pocket that's right there and there. A little pocket. That is some crazy detail they've done on that. I'm really impressed with the detail that these guys are able to do, that I'm just kind of hacking away at. And eliminating this nice detail that they've gone to the lengths to do and provide for you. As you can see by this little square right in here, just how tall the detail is. And I haven't gone through it and flattened that out yet. I'm getting close, but I'm not there yet. Okay, there we go. Alright, so let's do this edge. Buttons are tall. If I didn't have the acrylic set, it actually wouldn't be too bad, because the detail on this is really raised up nice and would be easy to paint. I'm going to put this down just so I can put a little more pressure on it with my file. Get in there. I think that part's good enough. I think. Gotta get in there with my knife, I believe. Just on this part here that I can't get into with the file. Tight corners are hard to get at with the file, so. Shave that down little by little with the knife. A little bit easier to get into those fine corners with the knife. Okay, one final panel here. Almost done. Let's have a look. I think we're good. Just got a little bit in this area here, right at this edge, that I can't get out. Kind of raised up a little bit. There we go. Okay. And we're going to make sure a little hole for our control stick is still there. There we go. Okay, so our panels are all flattened out now, which means I can paint this. Because once I have these pieces on here, then painting is going to be a real pain because I got to mask it all off. And that's the whole point of doing all this, is now I need to paint it. So I'm going to fire up my air compressor and I clean up my little area here. Okay. These to the side. Lots of shaving dust everywhere now. Let's put this here, this here. Now the Mr. Surfacer paint, or Mr. Color paint, of course this stuff is really thick and needs to be thinned. I have already put thinner in this particular bottle because I knew I was going to be spraying it. And so I've already thinned it out. just don't remember if I've got it thin enough. I believe I do. That's pretty thin and flopping around in there. Flopping. Okay. Okay, what did I just drop here? Okay, I gotta fix that later. Okay, I'm not going to bother changing the camera to show you guys the 30 seconds of painting I'm about to do on these parts. They're so small, and it's only going to take them, well, like I said, 30 seconds to paint them. So yeah, that's that. You guys will see in just a sec. Let's see, where can I grab that on the bottom? How about like that? That'll work. All right. I'll do 2 coats. See, there it is. Now it's kind of nice and blue. I'll do 2 coats on it. I just realized I need to flatten this piece out. So painting that really was just a useless exercise. This guy I cannot grab. I think I can grab from one of the tabs on the bottom here. I don't think this tab is going to be seen. So I think I can grab it like that, and that should be okay. I read somewhere online that the reason why Russians have their cockpits in this bright blue is to help the pilots stay alert, but also blue in order to keep them calm. Because blue, the color blue, has been known to have a calming effect in people. Just making sure I get all the angles. Here we go. So that's done. Okay. Do a second coat on this guy. There we go. And that's that. Okay, now like I said, I realized this guy I need to file down. I need to make him flat. Of course, he's only held on the sprue by one little tab, so I gotta be careful and go lightly on him as I file him down. And there, my laundry's done. There we go. Okay, my laundry is ready. Okay, this is now flattened out. And now this guy also, I think, needs to be the same. Yes. This one's a little bit easier, I think. It's not as much on this guy. just that one little edge. Okay, now we're ready to paint these two. Now they can be painted. There's that guy. And this guy is about to be done. And that's it. Okay, so this unfortunately is where I'm going to have to end it. Well, a Su plane for your Raptor to shoot down. Yes, that's right. My Raptor can shoot it down as long as it doesn't run into the Su-57 also. But of course, you know, one could argue that a Raptor could potentially take down the Su-57 and the Su-35. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe one day there will be a conflict. We don't know. Although lately it's kind of looking like there might be a possibility. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. This is where I'm going to leave it for today. I'll show you guys actually putting on the panels next time. We'll get to that. But that's where I got to end it for today, guys. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Check out the description box below. You're going to see a bunch of links there. Like I said, I will put the different colors that I'm going to be using. I'll put it down in the description box so you guys can actually check those out. And yeah, I guess that's going to be it for now. And we'll see you all in the next one.